Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Irish Abroad Show. It's myself, Paul Tierney, and I'm joined this week on the early session with Paul Nealon. Paul, how are we?
All good, yeah. It's the earliest session I've had for a while. But yeah, looking forward to getting straight into this. It's been a good week for Irish players, and no doubt we'll get stuck into it.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, we'll kick straight off into it with the Premier League. Shane Long got 80 minutes as Southampton came from 2-0 down to draw 2-2 with Brighton. Nathan Collins, another fine performance by him. He helped Burnley to a 1-0 win and a clean sheet against Wolves. He got a 9 out of 10 rating from Lancs Live, and they said it was a colossal performance, superb with and without the ball. So, Paul, that's fantastic to hear.
It is and it isn't, because obviously I'm an Everton fan. It's not very good for us, because obviously Burnley have a bit of an advantage despite the game in hand for Everton. But it is great to see Nathan finishing the season so strongly and becoming a real leader for Burnley at the back. I think that bodes well for Ireland in the future. There is that right hand side of the centre back three for Ireland. That is a position that's not fully confirmed. You would say John Egan and Shane Duffy are nailed on in that centre half positions, the centre back and the left centre back. I think John Egan and Shane Duffy have that boxed off. But you would look at that right centre back between Seamus Coleman, Andrew Bamidele, and probably Nathan Collins as the options there. And if Nathan continues to play like he's been playing, he's playing like a captain almost. He's scoring goals, and he's obviously stopping other teams from scoring goals as well. He's been excellent, especially since that Everton game. He's been excellent. But yeah, we obviously want that to continue from an Irish point of view, his form. Maybe not Burnley's form, but from a personal point of view. But in terms of the way he's going, you can only see him going on an upward trajectory now. And I just think we need more players like that to come in and actually, star for their club. You would say he's probably one of Burnley's star players at the moment, just the way he's been playing. And you can't say that about too many players, Irish players especially, in the Premier League. And it's no wonder bigger clubs like, you're an Arsenal fan. I know Arsenal were looking at him as well. And you would say that, at this stage, if Burnley did go down, Arsenal may take a punt on him. If Burnley, if they stay up, you don't know what will happen there. He might be as well off just staying there and playing first team football. But I mean, he's come along so well this season, and especially, I would say whenever he's came in, he's looked decent. I know he got sent off in one game, which I thought was quite harsh. But if you're actually looking at there, like, there's a real opening for him there. It's ever since actually the Ireland game that he played against Lithuania, I think it was. Didn't he get player of the match in that game? And I think ever since that game, his form has been excellent, and he's really gone up another level. And I think that's evident in how he's been playing. So yeah, look, long may that continue in terms of his form. But maybe not Burnley's. But look, if he continues to play well, and obviously he seems to be quite a fan's favourite, because he just gives everything for the badge for Burnley, so I'm sure the fans love him there. And as I say, he looks like he's going to be a big player for club and country going forward.
Yeah, definitely, and fair play to him on that. And from Burnley, we unfortunately have to speak about Everton. I didn't think yous were that bad on Sunday, really. I thought it was a fiery game. I thought yous got stuck into them and didn't let them play their usual top stuff. But in the end, a 2-0 defeat. But I mean, there was a bit of hope there anyway. I know he's in the relegation zone now, but there's still a lot to fight for.
Still a lot to fight for. I mean, if the players show what they showed against Liverpool, I know people are, there's a real media narrative that Everton are the worst team in the world and that everybody hates Everton and all this strange kind of carry on from like BBC and Sky Sports and all this type of thing, which is a load of nonsense, really. I actually don't know that many people that want Everton to go down. I've just heard anyone I know anyway, especially over this side of Ireland, want Everton to stay up, want Everton to do well, but for some reason in England they're hated. But that is what it is. I saw the stat on Allen or something like that about his passing or whatever. His job was to be in there to intercept and tackle, and if you actually look at those side of the stats, they were actually quite impressive. But anyway, people just don't want to. Sky Sports have their media narrative, as I say. Seamus thought he had a good game, until Diaz came on. I think he unsettled him a little bit, because he kept Mane quiet enough, which in fairness, most games that Seamus comes up against Mane, he does keep him fairly quiet. So I can't say too much on that. I would say in terms of Everton, they had a game plan to go and frustrate Liverpool, and they did that for quite a time. Probably should have had a penalty. Well, no, definitely should have had a penalty. Probably should have had Mane sent off as well. So if those things happen, you could be talking about a different result, because they all happened before the first goal went in. So, you know, if Everton had got a penalty, but then they still have to score it. So there's so many different twists and turns. But look, if they can match that the passion and the fight that they did against Liverpool at Anfield, against Chelsea, there's hope that, you know, a result can be got there this week. So look, definitely don't think Seamus is at fault for any of this at the minute. I think he's been playing decent enough. We miss him when he goes out of the team. I think if he had been playing against Burnley, we wouldn't have lost that game. But look, he was ill or something like that. So he's back playing, and hopefully he'll have a big part to play in getting us out of this mess that we're in at the minute.
Yeah, definitely. You just got to keep going. And as you said, Chelsea next. I'm sure Frank Lampard would love to get a win over them after getting sacked last season. That's it from the Premier League. Anyway, we can move on to the Championship. I'll run through a couple, then we'll talk about them, then I'll run through the last few, because there's a couple of midweek stuff as well. But start off with Saturday morning. Peter Kioso, I saw this comment on Twitter. CJ Hamilton is now declared for Ireland from Blackpool. Now, he used to live in Waterford, I think I saw, so he played in that as well. And Richard Keogh played in Luton 1, Blackpool 1 on Saturday morning. So good to see a lot of Irish involvement there, particularly at the top end of the Championship. Mark Travers plays in Fulham 1, Bournemouth 1. Obviously, Fulham were 1-0 up in that. Bournemouth got a leg penalty. Another assist for Danny McNamara. What a great season he's having in Millwall's 2-2 draw with Birmingham. Keeps them in the hunt for the playoffs. Now, it was a late goal they got as well, but good to see Danny is doing so well. Another clean sheet for Sean McLaughlin and Hull City as they beat Reading 3-0. And I saw this stat the other day, 19th clean sheet of the season for John Egan. He's played all 44 games so far as Sheffield United beat Cardiff 1-0. Now that's a great stat for John, isn't it, Paul?
I think so, but like Champions League Egan, as he's called at the Ireland team, Stephen Kenny obviously famously said that he should be playing the Champions League. Look, I think it must be frustrating for John Egan, because we know that he probably should be playing in the Premier League, and the fact that he's stuck with Sheffield United, they might get the playoffs. That remains to be seen. I think Blackburn are 3 points behind him, and I think there's a couple of games to go. But I think regarding him, I think he should be looking for a move, I think, in the summer, just to a better club. Excuse me, if they don't get promoted. There's obviously still a chance that they might, and they could get back up into the Premier League. But I thought when he was in the Premier League, I thought he showed how good he actually is and how good he can be. So I think for him, I'm not surprised by the stat, because I know how much of a warrior and a leader he is. But at the same time, they're sitting in 6th. You know, he's done his job by the sounds of things. Like, they play, I think, 44 games, 19 clean sheets. Not a whole lot more he can do, you know what I mean? But they probably dropped a lot of silly points along the way, and that's why they're in the position they're in. I haven't actually watched too much of them this season, but as I said, knowing John Egan and the way he plays, he doesn't look like he's out of form at all.
Yeah, definitely. I think they started slowly. Then who did they have in an ex-Watford manager, Jukanovic or something, I think it was. They started slowly, and then they sacked him, and the fella came in from in the club, and sure, they've been flying ever since. But I think with Sheffield United as well, they're still relying on Billy Sharp to get them important goals. And I mean, he still gets them, and fair play to him. But like, he's not going to be there for much longer, really. He's done his bit as well, like John Egan. So, you know, long may it continue for John anyway, and hopefully he gets a move if they don't get promoted. Just a couple of other things from that game. Enda Stevens played as well, and Mark McGuinness and Joel Bagan played for Cardiff as well. So good to see a bit of Irish involvement there. Jack Taylor and Sammy Schmoddix were part of the Peterborough side that lost 1-0 to Nottingham Forest and saw them consigned to relegation. Now, they put up a decent fight towards the end of the season, but ultimately it wasn't to be. Jimmy Dunn played in QPR's 1-0 defeat at Stoke City on Saturday as well. Now, here's another interesting point. Another goal from Micheal Obafemi in Swansea's 1-1 draw with Middlesbrough. Cyrus Christie, Ryan Manning and Aaron Connolly all played in that as well. Do you think the thing with Michael is to try get back into the Southampton team next year, or maybe will Swansea try and make a permanent move for him?
He is permanent, I believe.
Is he permanent? Is he?
I think he signed permanently in the summer, yeah. But there is clubs linked with a Premier League move for the summer. I saw that yesterday. But he is permanently gone, yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah, but it was quite weird at the end with Hassan, who like he was doing great the year of COVID, and then he just dropped him. He didn't get a look in at all last year.
Attitude. Sure, he didn't
Yeah.
start playing well till after January. I think with Swansea, the penny just seems to have dropped now. So, yeah, long may that continue. I know you'll probably touch on it as well, but he got 2 assists then again against Bournemouth. I think it was Tuesday night, and he's absolutely flying, and Cyrus is flying as well. And you mentioned Danny McNamara, so that right wing back position is up for grabs this summer with Matt Doherty out, and Seamus probably won't play in a right wing back role. He'll probably play in a right centre back role, just considering the age he is. But to have the lads playing so well is obviously great going into the Nations League. The fact that we have options going in that position, Danny could come in. Obviously, he's new to that territory if he was to come in at senior international football, but he obviously has played with the 21s, and a lot of those 21s have carried momentum into the senior squad. So I think if he was to come in there, he'd know a lot of the squad as well. He played with Troy at Millwall, Jason Malumbi as well, so he would have played with these players, and I think if he was to come in there, he'd be settled fairly quickly. And Cyrus, yeah, he got a great goal the other night, and he seems to be playing really good football as well. And him and Obafemi actually seem to link up quite well. So it could be a case of if the two of them get in the Ireland squad in the summer for the Nations League games, that could be good as well, because I think the fact that they have that link, and if they went into the squad together, I think that would help them both settle in quicker as well. And just another bit of news that maybe people didn't pick up on because we were talking about permanent transfers is Jason Malumbi is signed permanently for West Brom as well. Steve Bruce came out and said that as well. So him, Callum Robinson and Darragh O'Shea are all at West Brom now, and I might be missing one other there, but Jason's now a permanent player for them as well. So I just thought I'd just throw that in there just in case we forget to touch on it.
Yeah, good move. I was just going to go on to West Brom anyway. They kept a clean sheet on Saturday with all the lads you just mentioned involved: Darragh O'Shea, Jason Malumbi and Callum Robinson. They drew 0-0 with Coventry. Their season's kind of dwindled towards the end, but I'd say next year when Steve Bruce gets his hand on the squad properly, they'll be well up the top of the table anyway, competing for promotion once again. We go to Monday night anyway. There's a lot of Irish involvement in this one. Preston and Blackburn. Goals for Darragh Lenihan and Alan Brown.
Two great goals.
Yeah. A Greg Cunningham assist for Alan Brown as well, as Preston were beaten 4-1 by Blackburn. Sean Maguire did come on for the second half of that as well. That win sees Blackburn get right back into the playoff chase as well after a very, very bad run of form. I think the inclusion of Ben Brereton Diaz after injury is probably firing them once again. He did get a goal the other night as well, but he's not Irish, so we don't mind that. I'll go to midweek. Where are we? Midweek in the Championship. Couple of things here. Sorry, I'm after losing it there. Just Barnsley and Blackpool on Tuesday. William Hondermark and CJ Hamilton were both on as subs in Blackpool's 2-0 win at Oakwell. As you mentioned already, there was a goal for Cyrus Christie and 2 assists from Micheal Obafemi on Tuesday. They were 3-0 up at half time, but unfortunately they were pegged back 3-3 by Mark Travers and Robbie Brady's Bournemouth, so fair play to them on that. But
just before you go on that, Robbie Brady actually came on before the 3 goals were scored. So I don't know how much involvement he had with the 3 goals, but he may have impacted that comeback. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, definitely, I'd say definitely involved anyway. And Bournemouth are kind of slowly making their way over the line, but they do have a tough game against Nottingham Forest too. I did pip with Ger a couple of weeks ago to get automatic promotion, and I think they will get automatic promotion because they've just been fantastic since Steve Cooper's come in as well. But I think Ger might owe me a tenner when I get that right, so I'm looking forward to that one.
What did you spend a tenner on?
What can you buy with a tenner now? Points, obviously. You can't even get 2 points with a tenner anymore. Unbelievable.
How many cans could you get for that?
Well, they'd be rubbish cans anyway. It depends. Probably a 4-pack of something.
Carpackie.
The glory days, Carpackie. Anyway, I think last night as well, Middlesbrough did play Cardiff. Now, I forgot to write whatever happened there, but I'm sure there was a bit of Irish involvement with the lads. Obviously, Aaron Connolly's playing for them. And then you have Joel Bagan and Mark McGuinness, obviously, with Cardiff as well. I did see James Collins come back from injury last night as well, which is good for the Ireland setup as well. But Middlesbrough won that 2-0, and that gives them still a slim chance of making the playoffs as well. It's going to be a tight last 2 weeks in the Championship. We move on into League One now anyway, a couple of midweek games and a couple of weekend games. So a start on Saturday. Kieran Sadlier scored in Bolton's 2-1 win at Cheltenham Town. There was an assist for Anthony Pilkington in Fleetwood's 1-1 draw with Wimbledon. Another assist for Troy Parry. He's got a load of assists this season in their 2-0 win over Morecambe. Keeps them in the hunt for automatic promotion between them, Wigan and Rotherham. We'll get onto that in a minute. Warren O'Hara and Connor Coventry also played for MK Dons in that. 2 goals for Ronan Curtis. You would have saw our post on the weekend. He scored twice and got an assist from Marcus Harness in Portsmouth's 3-1 win against Gillingham. Now, unfortunately for Portsmouth, they can't make the playoffs this year, but they've still ended the season very well, and we'll move on to that in midweek as well. A lot of Irish lads involved there, so good to see. Sean Raggett, Gavin Bazunu, Aidan O'Brien and Conor Masterson, who was playing for Gillingham, all played in that as well. Another assist for Will Keane in Wigan's 1-1 draw with Plymouth. Wigan, another team who are slowly making their way over the line with 1 game left. Will Keane's had a fantastic season, it's got to be said. And there was an assist for Daryl Horgan in Wickham's 1-0 win against Sheffield Wednesday. A big win there, keeps them in the hunt for the playoffs as well. We go to midweek, where there was a lot of action at the top of the table. Will Keane got his 24th of the season. Wigan were 2-0 up against Portsmouth. They ended up losing 3-2 to a late Aidan O'Brien winner, and Marcus Harness got an assist in that as well. Paul, Will Keane's had a great season, but he did get his chance against Lithuania. But, I mean, obviously international football is a bit harder, but I mean, he's had a great season, it's got to be said.
He has had a great season, but I think when you get to that international level, you have to take a chance. And I think someone like Chiedozie Ogbene, someone who's come in, he's playing the same level as Will Keane, but he's come in and taking his chance. He was given the chance against Lithuania, who aren't a major side, and I don't know whether he was nervous or whatever. But I feel as though his chance kind of passed him by, because if you look at the way Troy finished that game and he got the goal, Troy's probably ahead of him in the pecking order. Chio's probably ahead of him in the pecking order. Jason Knight's probably ahead of him. Callum Robinson's definitely ahead of him. I know he kind of gives us something different, but I think he's better off the bench, and I don't think he'll be a starter for us anytime soon. But yeah, he definitely could build on this season. But then again, he might be one of those players who, once he gets a goal for, and that might just settle him down, and he might become a key player for us. So you never know. Like I always say, a goal can really change things. I always feel like Callum Robinson, I know he scored the goal against New Zealand, never really went anywhere with that, but once he scored when there was fans there, there was fans against New Zealand, sorry, but then we had all the COVID stuff. But then when he was getting attacked by the media, and then he scored them goals, I think it was away to Azerbaijan, and he got those goals, and then after that he really went up a level. He always looks like he's a threat, and if he's not scoring goals, he's involved in goals now, like the goal Chio scored against Belgium. Callum Robinson gave that ball into the box. So I think a goal can really bring a player's level up, and I think their confidence in that, and I think that might be the case with Will Keane in international football. As far as this season, he's been absolutely excellent. I would argue that he's Ireland's player of the season, in terms of if you look at everyone's club form. You can't really argue to his goals tally. His assists are quite high as well. I think he's about 6, 7, maybe 8 assists in all competitions, and he's 23 goals now?
24. He's
24, so yeah.
Joint top.
So
yeah,
I would I'd say Obafemi's probably next on the list with about 12 goals or something like that. There's not like, and McLean's probably not far off either. To be fair, he's had a great season with Wigan as well. So I think, yeah, look, they're in a great position now. You know, the top of the championship, aren't they?
They're top of League One, but it's very.
Oh, sorry, yeah, League One. Sorry, going into the championship. I'm already thinking they're in the championship now. I think they're promoted. But the top of League One is what I meant.
Yeah. I was looking at it yesterday. They're 2 points ahead of Rotherham, and they're 3 points ahead of MK Dons. So it's a 3-way fight to win the league basically on Saturday morning, and it'll be live on Sky as well. So it'll be an interesting watch if you don't fancy watching Liverpool beat Newcastle. So. Yeah, they should. Well, it'd be a tough game for Liverpool, but they probably will beat them. But yeah, we move on, you mentioned Chiedozie Ogbeni. He was playing for Rotherham on Tuesday as well. He helped them to a 1-1 draw with Sunderland. And as I mentioned, three-way race for the title on Saturday morning between Wigan, Rotherham, and MK Dons. So that'll be an interesting watch for anyone who is around on Saturday morning on Sky. Uh, we go to League Two now. A couple of things from the weekend, a couple of things from midweek. So John Rooney scored for Barrow in their win over Sutton. Niall Canavan played in that also. There was an assist for Stephen McLaughlin as Mansfield beat Crawley 2-0. Stephen Quinn and John Joe O'Toole played in that as well. And the golden assist for Emmanuel Osadebe in Walsall's 2-0 win over Port Vale. That puts Port Vale in a bit of trouble for the automatic places as well. It's very tight in League Two as well. We had a post about Pierce Sweeney on Tuesday. Exeter City finally got promoted. They've been losing out in the playoffs for a long time now. And Paul Gammond was also part of that squad as well as they were promoted.
Who I actually left. I left out of that post by mistake. But I fixed it. I picked it up. I fixed it up this morning though. Sorry, go on.
Good stuff. He actually got a very important goal a few weeks ago off the bench up at Carlisle. I think that's one of the longest trips in the Football League. And they won 1-0 in the 90th minute. And that's fired them on to get automatic, really. So great for Exeter as well. It's been a long time coming for them. They did beat Barrow 2-1. Niall Canavan and John Rooney were playing in that as well. And just one more thing from during the week. Stephen McLaughlin and John Joe O'Toole helped Mansfield to keep a clean sheet in their hunt for automatic promotion. 2-0 win over Stevenage as well. That I was looking at League Two the other day. There's several teams involved going for that third automatic spot and a lot of Irish lads involved as well. So good to see there, and hopefully a couple of them can get up into League One. We can move on into Scotland now as well. One thing we'll all be delighted with was Ross Tierney's goal on Saturday against Rangers. Unfortunately, Rangers did come back to win 3-1. But good to see Jake Carroll setting them up as well, Paul. Two very, very talented young players over in Motherwell.
Yeah, it's just a shame that obviously the goal didn't really mean much other than maybe personal pride for him. But it was a great goal by him. That'll only give him confidence. He's gone over there and he has scored goals. He seems like a very fearless young man, to be fair to him. Good young head on his shoulders. Obviously he has plenty of kids and stuff like that, so I'm sure they keep him mature. But yeah, I think it's great for him to be scoring in big games like that. Now hopefully he can go up another level next season, and we'll see where he can go from here. But yeah, it's great to see. It's becoming more of a constant thing now as our Irish players going abroad to Scotland and doing well. And I think Jamie McGrath was the first one who it really started working and clicking for, and now there seems to be a lot of them that's clicking for. Conor Ronan, Jake Carroll, as I say, Jake Doyle-Hayes. There's a good few of them now that are starting to kick on a good bit. Even Aaron McAneff is scoring for Hearts. He's probably not getting as much first team football as he would like, but he's still scoring goals when called upon. So yeah, it's crazy. I think Liam Scales was back in the Celtic squad as well. I'm not sure if he played, but I think he was back in the squad as well. So yeah, it's good to see. But we want more now. We want all of our players doing well on all fronts. So it makes Ireland more of a competitive nation, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see. The only other bit of information I got from Scotland on the weekend was Connor Salmon. Once again, he scored for Alloa as they beat Jays Cabbies Falkirk 2-1. Jays didn't play in that. I think he might be injured again. But we can move on into Europe now as well. We'll speak about the man in the thumbnail, Josh Cullen. He scored, I think it was his first Anderlecht goal as well. But they were beaten 3-1 by Union Saint-Gilloise, who are top of the league over there as well. Josh has become a bit of a cult hero over there by the sounds of it, Paul, hasn't he?
Yeah, Mr. Consistent. I believe that's a derby game. The Belgian football podcast, the BFP. I think that's what they're called. Obviously we did the opposition preview with them ahead of the Belgium game, but they had commented on it saying he scored in the Belgian derby, which was obviously Anderlecht against I can't pronounce the name, but the top of the league anyway. You can pronounce them there for me.
I'm just guessing Union Saint-Gilloise, but I just call them USG. I think that's what they call them over there. So
yeah, okay, so we'll go with USG. So yeah, he obviously scored against USG, and they're flying it. Like, they kind of came out of nowhere. I've never heard of them before this season.
They only got promoted last year.
Yeah, it's mad. Like, fair play to them. But yeah, Josh is becoming and ever present in that Anderlecht team. I think they're looking at keeping him there for a long time. But in saying that, I heard of a certain ex-Irish international, now England international, leaves West Ham, that Josh could be on his way back to the Hammers with a buyback clause. I that's only a rumour I heard. I hope that's not the case. I actually like the fact that he's playing away from England, and I'd like to, maybe, if he could go somewhere that wasn't Belgium, but maybe like, I'd love to see him go to like an Ajax or something like that, and the way they play their brand of football and stuff like that. I'd love to see him maybe make that next jump like that. I still think Anderlecht are a good club, but they're more of a stepping stone. I like the fact that he's working with company, and you can see what company's done with him. He's made him Ireland's best midfielder as well as Anderlecht's best midfielder. And he's made that number 6 position his own for Ireland as well. I don't think he could really look at any midfielder and go, he can come in and replace him. He's literally, at the moment, irreplaceable. The only player who I can kind of compare him to is Conor Coventry. And I think he's still a few years away from getting to that kind of next level. A bit like Josh, but Josh had to go out on a few loans before he kind of found his home at Anderlecht. But now he's really excelling. And I'm sure there'll be clubs sniffing around him just because of how consistent he's been. He just kind of goes, if he wasn't Irish, I'd probably say he'd go under the radar. So say if he was like English, he'd go completely under the radar, because just purely there'd be so many other English players getting hyped up everywhere else that he would go under the radar. But because he's Irish, and there's so many Irish fan pages and all now, that they're always posting about when he's doing well and stuff like that. So he's never, even though he's not a player who's, like, I know he scored this week, but he's not normally a player who scores. He just kind of gets on with his job, and he's just a midfield combatter, really. He sets the tempo for his team. And I was actually, we did the stats the other day, like, I think 88% of his pass accuracy for the season. Like, that's unbelievable for a whole season. Like, and a lot of his balls were forward passes as well. I don't know now if that's from 10 yards in front of him or whatever, but that's what the stats were saying. So, he's not afraid of a tackle. He can pretty much do it all. He probably needs to add goals to his game to be really considered a top level midfielder. But if he's playing in that number 6 position, he doesn't really need to do that. But he could maybe contribute from set pieces and assists, because we've seen him with Ireland, and the set pieces are quite good.
Yeah, definitely. I think with him as well, maybe the reason West Ham want him back is because if they're looking to keep going in Europe in the next few years, they're going to have to increase the squad. Because you can see in the league, especially, they've kind of died a death the last few weeks. Now, I might bite myself in the arse there, and they might beat Arsenal on Sunday, and Arsenal will be back to square one again after winning 2 games. But, I mean, West Ham have a massive game tonight in the Europa League semi-final. And look, next year, if Declan Rice moves on, if he doesn't, they're going to need more players if they're going to be in Europe, especially if they win the Europa League and get into the Champions League. And I mean, how good would that be for Josh if he got an experience of Champions League football with West Ham as well, if they do get into it? But I think with Anderlecht, if they sign him as well, I think with Anderlecht as well, it's a team in transition. You think of Anderlecht through the years being in the Champions League, being the main team from Belgium. They've kind of fallen away the last while, and I think it's great for him that he's being part of a revival with them as well, which is great to see. And maybe if he does stay there and they get into Europe next year, obviously just missed out in the Conference League last year or this year, they'll be it'll be fantastic for him, and it's all about experience. And the more people we get playing Europe, the better, in my opinion. And I'm sure you're the same. We move on in Europe anyway. A couple of more things. Zach Elbazetti got 70 minutes in AOK's 1-0 derby win over Djurgården on, I think it was Saturday. Big win there. Obviously, they've had a bit of a stuttering start to the season, but look, it's still early doors, only 5 games in. And Conor Noss got 20 minutes in Freiburg's 3-3 draw, or in Mönchengladbach's 3-3 draw with Freiburg on Saturday as well. Conor Noss is starting to get a bit of time now. I know Mönchengladbach have struggled this season, but that's a team who were in the Champions League not too long ago.
Yeah, I still don't. The jury's out on him, in my opinion. I'm not sure he wants to be an Irish international until I start seeing a bit more. Like, I saw something about him saying he's not sure if he's fully committed to Ireland. Also, I don't really want to talk about him too much unless I'm fully convinced. if Germany come in for him, I'm sure he would jump at the chance to play for them ahead of us. So I don't really want to be getting tied into talking about him. Look, yeah, it's great to see him getting Bundesliga appearances and stuff like that, but Stephen Kenny calls him up and he plays for us, great. But if he doesn't, then we're just kind of wasting time talking about him when he could easily just jump ship. I don't think he's good enough, to be honest with you, to get into the German squad anyway. So the likelihood is he probably will come to us, but for the time being, I don't really want to talk about him until I know he's fully committed.
Fair enough, that's fine, no bother. That's it with Europe anyway. We can move on into America and Australia. So a couple of bits here, and thank you for making me remember Derek Williams, because this week he grabbed an assist and helped LA Galaxy to a clean sheet in their 1-0 win over Nashville. So look, Derek, we know he's a very good player. Probably could still do it in second division in England, but look, he's enjoying life over in LA. Who wouldn't? But fair play to him. Another one, 15 minutes for Jake Mulroney in Atlanta's 2-1 defeat to Inter Miami. Phil Neville's into Miami, ex-Everton man there. 70 minutes for John Gallagher, again at left back in Austin's 3-0 win over Vancouver. After finishing bottom last year, Austin have started this season very, very well. And Shane O'Neill played the full 90 minutes in Toronto's 5-4 defeat to New York City FC. So a bit of an entertaining game there. And there was a yellow card for Jay O'Shea in Brisbane Roar's 1-1 draw with Melbourne victory. So that's it from America and USA. Always interesting to look for results in those leagues because there's so many matches and you miss out on so many players. But good to see Derek back doing stuff for LA Galaxy as well, Paul.
Yeah, I think he announced a new baby's on the way, or I don't know if he had it or not, but I think he's a new baby on the way. So life's going pretty well for him over in LA. Seems like a gent. As you say, he could be doing it probably in the championship, but could you really blame him for going to LA? I'd be straight over there if I got the offer to play football over there. Basically get paid probably what you would have got paid at Blackburn to be in a miserable kind of place in Lancashire, to go and live the life and live the good life in LA. And if he really wanted to, he could probably make a life over there. He could probably get into coaching when he's done, and he could probably go on to coach a team over there, or if he plays his cards right, I'm sure. And I'm sure his model wife or girlfriend or whatever could get a handy job over there as well, if she doesn't already have him already.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, I think that wraps us up for this week. We've gone through everything that I found anyway, but thanks very much everyone for watching. Thanks again to Paul for filling in today. Obviously it's a busy day for me and Jer, so great for him to fill in, and thanks to you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you again next week with more information after a busy bank holiday weekend. So thanks again, Paul.
No worries, anytime. Make sure that no one's going to give us stick now in the comments.
They probably will. Usually do. Good luck, guys.